We have a drain bed that's moving to a satisfactory condition after the hydraulic load test. So it's a little early to call it that, but I've been doing this a long enough time that I can tell you that this is, at this point, we're 90% sure that that's a properly operating drain bed based on the PSMA standards and guidelines. So the drain bed, the most important part, the absorption area, will be listed as satisfactory. Now we have the unsatisfactory issue with the inlet line. So the inlet line needs to be dug up and repaired going into the septic tank to ensure that no future blockages occur. We have to have that proper flow from the home into the tank, ensuring that nothing is left behind. So that needs to be corrected. The report will state unsatisfactory until that's corrected and then re-inspected. We also have that issue with the tank, which is more investigation. So right now, the tank is listed as unsatisfactory because the water level's low. Until we do more investigation, there's multiple ways we could do that. But someone has to determine whether or not that tank is actually cracked and leaking, or was it just pumped and poorly pumped, leaving solids behind, giving the indication that the tank is leaking. So what I'm saying is, unsatisfactory conditions depend on specifically what they are. Something can be repaired. Those things need to be repaired before satisfactory can be given. If your absorption area is unsatisfactory, you have to start the process for a new absorption area. So that's where it leaves my hands and it's placed into the hands of a soils consultant and the sewage enforcement officer governing the township, and they start the process to create a new absorption area. So basically, an unsatisfactory in the drain field relating to overfull conditions or not accepting the required flows, breaking out, that's a replacement for the absorption area. Anything else basically can be repaired. There's so many variables of what that word unsatisfactory means. Mm-hmm. It literally, unsatisfactory encompasses a missing cap on a clean out pipe all the way up to the absorption area is oversaturated and water's running down the hill. So it can literally be a $3 item that needs to be installed on something, or a $50,000 septic system. So there's a lot that's read into those unsatisfactory conditions, or that needs to be read into those unsatisfactory conditions to determine if they're correctable items. And that's why you write an inspection report. You have to talk about every component from the house on out and state what those issues are. If my competitors are just writing reports where they went out on such and such a day, we inspected the septic system and we found it unsatisfactory, and don't say anything else, I'm not sure what those people got for their money.
If a system's unsatisfactory, you have to repair the things that it needs
in order to make it work. Mm-hmm. And if those people choose not to do that, well, they can't come they can't come after the seller, they can't come after the inspector or the realtors or anything of that nature, because a thorough inspection was performed and it was stated what those issues are and why they need to be replaced. So like this pipe here, if that's not fixed, that could create a blockage to the point where sewage is all over the basement. I did my job. I hate it when people say that. I did my job. But I did my job. I inspected it and I advised you what was wrong. It's got to be fixed in order for it to work properly. What people do after I leave, that's on them. I probably take at least 85 pictures per inspection. Sometimes closer to 100, depending on what the system actually is. Sometimes there's more components. Sometimes there's more visible things to actually take pictures of. Or you have a hydraulic load test, sometimes there's like 40 more pictures on the second day. And not all those pictures go into the report, but I take a lot of pictures. And it's more so for me, a lot of those pictures go into the report. more so for me, in case I ever get a call later, say 3 years down the road, and hey, you did my inspection 3 years ago, I'm having this issue, what do you think? I can bring up the report. I can refamiliarize myself with the property from the detail of the report, which details, again, everything from the house through the inlet line to the septic tank, the distribution point, out of the distribution point into the absorption area. I give distances, sizes of the tank, along with the pictures, dimensions of the drain field, how deep the stone was below grade, the fact that it's on a slope. I'll even sometimes even describe the different absorption areas, explaining to the folks that are reading it so they have a better understanding when I say drain bed, or I say trenches, or I say sand mound. And then sometimes I'll even put some basic schematic drawing of what a septic tank looks like from a side view. Like if I have a buyer who's more apt to understanding septic systems, I might not put those extra pictures in. But a novice, as soon as somebody tells me this is their first septic, they've never had septic before, all that extra stuff goes in there. I do put a lot of pictures in, so they have a tendency to make my reports a minimum of 10 pages. And like I said, depending on the more work that's done, they can be upwards of 20. The reports are always going to be a 10-page minimum. So under a PSMA inspection, you'll have your authorization form. You come out and do the inspection, and you create your checklist with your diagram, and then you have to write a report on the condition or situation involving the pipes in the house, the flow into the tank, and all the components of the septic system. It's required by PSMA, and that report only goes to the person who purchased the service, which is generally the buyer who contacted us to do the inspection. Terry asks when she receives the phone call, do you want us to send that information to the realtor? Because we can't just give the realtor the report. Even though they should have it, we need the buyer's permission to do that. So we generally ask right up front, that way we're just kicking the report out to everybody who they've allowed to have it, just to speed up processes and things. These house sales, man, everything's got to be done in 7 days. So the quicker everybody has the report, the better.